The 25th session of the Senate in the first regular session of the 17th Congress is hereby called to order. Majority Leader, did Senator Angara send this prayer?
Yes, Mr. President, this is a prayer of Senator Angara. God, our Father, we praise your name for all that you do for us each day. We bring the needs of the country before you. We ask that you continue to bestow upon us the grace that we may always strive towards becoming the great nation that we hope and envision ourselves to be. I pray for the members of the Senate to receive your wisdom and to act and lead in accordance to that wisdom. May God's will and purpose direct our passion and empower us to live a life of compassion. Guide us with your Spirit that we may be righteous, and give us humble hearts that we may be selfless. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Thus we pray that you usher us into a path of unity that is dedicated to the sake of the nation. Bless the works of our hands and grant us peace. Lead us to the greener pastures of collaboration, charity, love, and service. May we always be reminded that your steadfast love never ceases, and your mercies never come to an end. All these we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. The Imus Institute Science and Technology Pitch Choir will lead us in the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. The group will also render a song entitled Iisang Bangka.
Sa langit bumaba,
Maraming salamat po sa IMUS Institute Science and Technology Pitch Choir. Secretary, please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, Cayetano, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Honasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Ligada, Pacquiao, Pangilinan po, Recto, Soto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Pimentel.
With 20 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we dispense with the reading of the journal of the 24th session, Wednesday, September 21, 2016, and consider the same as approved.
Any objection? There being none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, we have some guests in the hall. We have the Kababaihang Maabilidad at Organisado, Incorporated, headed by Kapitana Rizalina Tiope, the College of Human Ecology students of UP Los Baños, headed by Professor Felizar and Mr. Consignado, the Leyte Normal University, headed by Professor Maximino Ibarra-Villano, and PUP College of Law students, and also youth leaders, delegates for the Youth for Sustainable Change project from the Social Democratic Youth League of Denmark, and visitors of Senator Aquino and Senator Zubiri, officials and graduate students from the Naval State University and Leyte Normal University, headed by Dr. Ariaso, Dr. Villarino, and Captain Flores. And we also have the Secretary of the DOST, Secretary Fortunato de la Peña, with us this afternoon, Mr. President. May we welcome them to the Senate.
Welcome to all our guests, the Kababaihan group, the students, the professors, future lawyers, and youth leaders, and to Secretary de la Peña of the DOST. Welcome to the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
Is there any objection? There being none, the motion is approved.
1163, an act to provide early youth suicide intervention and prevention expansion. Senator Joel Villanueva.
Referred to the Committees on Youth, Health and Demography, and Finance.
1164, an act providing for a permanent appointment to all casual and contractual employees of the government who have rendered the prescribed years of service in the national government agencies and the local government units and for other purposes. Senator Joel Villanueva.
To the Committee on Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation.
1165, an act requiring parking space from motor vehicle buyers in metropolitan areas as a prerequisite for the purchase of a motor vehicle and registration with the Land Transportation Office. Senator Joel Villanueva.
To the Committees on Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship and Public Services.
1166, an act providing for the maximization of benefits from finite minerals and mineral products and quarry resources. Senator Joel Villanueva.
To the Committees on Environment and Natural Resources, Local Government, and Ways and Means.
1167, an act right-sizing the national government to improve public service delivery. Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation and Finance.
1168, an act instituting the expanded Balikbayan program, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 6768 as amended by Republic Act Number 9174 and for other purposes. Senator Aquilino Pimentel III.
To the Committees on Ways and Means and Tourism.
1169, an act further strengthening workers' right to self-organization by amending for the purpose Articles 240, 234C, 242, 235, 243, 236, 244, 237, and 285, 270 of the Presidential Decree Number 442, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines as amended. Senator Joel Villanueva.
To the Committee on Labor, Employment, and Human Resources Development.
Resolution. Resolution number 164. Resolution directing the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights and other appropriate Senate committees to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the current security, containment, and safety regulation procedures for detention and correctional facilities in the country, with the end in view of assessing if these procedures are adequate and effective, and to recommend remedial measures and regulations. Senator Aquilino Pimentel III.
To the Committee on Justice and Human Rights.
Communications. Letters from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas transmitting to the Senate copies of the following certified and authenticated BSP issuances in compliance with Section 15A of Republic Act Number 7653, the New Central Bank Act. Circular letter numbers CL-2016-073 and 074 dated 24 and 26 August 2016, and circular number 923 dated 31 August 2016, and memorandum number M-2016-011 dated 31 August 2016.
To the Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, to speak on a matter of public interest, may we recognize Senator Antonio Trillanes IV.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senator Trillanes is recognized to speak on a matter of public interest.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand on a matter of privilege to discuss an issue of grave national concern. Noong nakaraang linggo sa hearing ng Committee on Justice and Human Rights, meron daw pong mga inconsistencies di umano sa mga pahayag ni Mr. Edgar Matobato. Next slide, please. Una, ayon sa testimonya ni Matobato sa Senado, grade 1 lamang siya ang natapos niya, at ito daw ay taliwas sa nakasaad sa affidavit niya sa NBI na nakalagay grade 3 at sa kanyang service card na sa Davao City Hall na nakalagay ay siya ay high school graduate. Sa ating fact check, sa lahat ng tanong kay Mr. Matobato, ang sagot niya ay siya ay grade 1. Hindi rin si Matobato ang sumulat at naghanda ng service card at affidavit niya dahil hindi siya marunong magbasa at magsulat. Yung sa service card, maaring ito ay nilagay na high school graduate para ma-justify yung kanyang pagsiservisyo sa City Hall. Pero ano pa man, grade 1 ang kanyang claim, at kung merong ibang magsasabi na mas mataas ang natapos niya, then dapat meron po silang ipapakita na pruweba. So sa madaling salita, walang inconsistency. Pangalawa, sinabi umano ni Matobato noong September 15 hearing na si President Duterte ang nag-utos na patayin si Sally Macdum. Ayon sa ating pagsaliksik, sa transcript ng September 15 hearing, walang sinabi si Mr. Matobato na si President Duterte ang nag-utos na patayin si Sally Macdum. Kagaya nung sinabi niya nung September 22 hearing, si Las Cañas ang nag-utos sa kanila. Next slide. So walang inconsistency dun sa sinabi niyon. Pangatlo, ayon sa kay Senator Cayetano, sinabi umano ni Matobato sa affidavit niya sa NBI na si President Duterte ang nag-utos ipapatay si Sally Macdum. Ayon sa ating pagsaliksik, Ayon sa NBI affidavit ni Matobato, Sally Macdum was ordered liquidated by Rodrigo Duterte through SPO4 Arthur Las Cañas because he was a suspected na terrorist. Andyan po yung source sa mga dokumento na yan. So sa madaling salita, walang inconsistency. Next slide please. Kaapat, ayon sa testimonya ni Matobato sa Senado, binigti at sinapchap umano nila si Sally Macdum. Ito daw ay taliwas sa affidavit niya sa NBI na nagsasabi na binigti, nilaslasan ng leeg, sinaksak at sinapchap nila si Sally Macdum. Again, ayon sa mga salaysay ni Mr. Matobato, siya lang ang nagbigti kay Sally Macdum. Ngayon, nais kong i-emphasize ang ibig sabihin ni Mr. Matobato ng pagbigti. Ito yung panggarote o pangsakal, hindi yung binibitay, kagaya ng pagkakaintindi ng mga taga rito sa Maynila. Dagdag pa niya, hindi siya, kundi si Las Cañas ang sumaksak kay Sally Macdum. Ipapakita ko mamaya ang isang larawan para mabigyan ng idea kung paano nangyayari ito. Again, wala pong inconsistency. Next slide please. Sabi umano ni Mr. Matobato sa September 15 hearing na noong 2010 kinidnap nila ang mga tauhan/bodyguard ni Nograles. Binago niya umano ang kanyang statement noong September 22 hearing at sinabi na ang kinidnap nila ay tao ni General Palparan at ni General Matiliano. Now, ayon sa ating pagsaliksik, nakalagay sa transcript noong September 15 hearing, sinabi ni Matobato na noong 2010, kinidnap nila ang 4 na tao ni Nograles. Sinabi din niya na ang mga taong ito ay tao ni General Matiliano at General Palparan na sumusuporta kay Nograles. Sinabi po niya yan. So sa madaling salita, again, walang inconsistency. Next slide please. Ayon kay Matobato, wala daw siyang ginawang affidavit tungkol sa DDS, ngunit lumabas na may affidavit siya sa NBI tungkol dito. Next slide please. Base sa ating pagsaliksik, ang tanging complaint affidavit na final ni Matobato ay tungkol sa kanyang torture at kay Richard King at hindi tungkol sa Davao Death Squad. Ang binasa po ni Senator Cayetano ay isang sworn statement. Ang pagkakaalam ni Mr. Matobato, magkaiba po ito. So in short, wala pong inconsistency. Next slide. Ayon kay Matobato, sinabi sa kanya na sa McDonald's binaril si Richard King. Ito ay taliwas sa totoong nangyari na sa sariling opisina pinatay si Richard King. Ngayon, base sa ating pagsaliksik, maliwanag sa mga salaysay ni Mr. Matobato na wala siya sa actual na pagpatay kay Richard King at ito ay ikinuwento lamang sa kanya. So sa madaling salita, walang inconsistency. Next slide please. Ayon kay Matobato, masking tape ang ginagamit nila sa pagbalot sa muka ng mga biktima nila. Ngulit nang papiliin ni Senator Cayetano, yung packaging tape ang napili niya. Sa limitadong kaalaman ni Mr. Matobato, ang pangalan ng iba't ibang office supplies, ang tawag niya sa lahat ng uri ng tape ay masking tape. So sa madaling salita, again, walang inconsistency. Next slide please. Ayon kay Attorney Abeto Salcedo Jr., tinangka siyang patayin ni Matobato noong October 24, 2014. Ayon naman sa ginawang report ng NBI sa DOJ, nasa custody na ng WPP si Mr. Matobato noong September 1, 2014. At hindi lang yan, na-discover natin na base dito sa balitang ito, October 24, 2014, inambush yung DARA adjudicator at ang kanyang description ng gunman ay slim, 5'8" ang height at wearing black shades during the attack. So maliwanag, hindi si Mr. Matobato yan dahil mga 4'8" lang yata ang height ni Mr. Matobato. So isang talampakan ang diferensya sa description. Siya po yung nag-file ng kaso ngayon kay Mr. Matobato. Next slide. Ngayon, kung meron pa mang ibang inconsistency pa, ito ay minor lamang at pwede nating ipaubaya sa memory lapse dahil sa edad niya na 57 years old at dahil sa dami ng kanyang napatay o nakitang napatay, ito ay nagiging regular na pangyayari sa buhay niya. Kagaya rin nating lahat, walang may perpektong memorya. Bukod pa riyan, siya ay nakatapos lamang ng grade 1 at hindi makapagtagalog ng maayos. At dahil hindi siya makabasa, ang buhay niya ay umaasa ng malaki sa tiwala ng mga tao sa paligid niya. Kung ano ang sasabihin sa kanya ng mga taong pinagkakatiwalaan niya, yun ang pinangahawakan niya. Ano't ano pa man, pagkatapos ng mahigit 10 oras na cross-examination at scrutiny ng ating mga mahuhusay na mga senador, inconsistencies lamang ang kanilang napuna at wala ni isang sadyang sinungalingan silang nakita. At habang sumasang-ayon ako na pwedeng subukan butasan ang testimonya ng isang testigo para matest ang kanyang credibility, considering ang fact-finding nature ng legislative inquiry, mas ginusto ko na magkalap ng mga impormasyon at ebidensya para ma-validate o hindi ang mga pahayag ng testigo. At ito ang aming nakita. Ayon kay Matobato, nagserbisyo siya sa Davao City Government hanggang 2013, September, no umalis siya sa DDS. Dito po, sa service card ni Matobato bilang empleyado ng Davao City Government, makikita natin na naka-assign siya sa City Mayor's Office sa Davao City. At dito sa date, as early as September 1990, ay nagtatrabaho na siya sa City Mayor's Office. Sa madaling salita, totoo ang kanyang mga pahayag. Next slide. Dito po sa ID ni Matobato bilang empleyado ng Davao City Hall, makikita natin si Mayor Sara Duterte ang nakapirma dahil si Mayor Sara Duterte ay siyang mayor simula 2010 hanggang 2013 sa Davao City. So hanggang dun sa panahon na yon ay totoo ngang empleyado siya. Next slide. Dito sa payroll ng job order, makikita natin ang pangalan ni Mr. Edgar Matobato na siya ay naka-assign dito sa Davao City Hall as late as July 1, 2013 based on this payroll na pirmado po ng mga opisyal ng Davao City Hall Government. So totoo po ang kanyang mga pahayag. Ayon kay Matobato, meron daw siyang ATM card bilang patunay na sumisweldo siya sa City Hall. Ito po ang Land Bank ATM card ni Edgar Matobato. Later on, pwede natin hingin yung mismong transaction history ng kanyang account para malaman natin kung talagang regular siyang pinapasweldohan. Next slide. Ayon kay Matobato, siya daw ay asset ng mga pulis. Ito po, dito po sa ID ni Matobato, bilang agent ng CIDG, ito po ay nagpapatotoo ng kanyang salaysay. Next slide. Ayon kay Matobato, siya daw ay naka-assign sa heinous crime section ng Davao City o Davao City Hall. Again, dito sa job order form, makikita natin ang kanyang office of assignment na nakalagay heinous crime and investigation section ng main office. Ano yan? Ang date niyan ay 2nd July 2013. So, totoo muli ang kanyang salaysay. Next slide. Ito naman sa dokumento ng Human Resource Management Office ng City Government of Davao dated November 22, 2007. Nakalagay dito, please be informed. Naka-address ito kay Mr. Edgar Matobato, City Mayor's Office. Please be informed that your job order has been approved by the City Mayor, and as such, you are hereby assigned to the Heinous Crime Investigation and Detective Management Section, Davao City Police Office, this city, effective upon receipt hereof. Report to Police Senior Superintendent Jaime Morente, etc., etc. So, totoo ang kanyang sinasabi na siya ay naka-assign sa heinous crime in unit or section ng Davao City Hall. Next slide. Ayon kay Matobato, dun sa kanyang salaysay noong September 15, itong mga ito ang miyembro ng heinous crime section. Major Lau, Major Francia, Arthur Las Cañas, Sonny Beneventura, Jim Tan Braganza. Ayon sa ating fact check, sinabi mismo ni General De La Rosa, ang ating Chief PNP, and I quote, iyong pinagsasabi niya kanina, Your Honor, nakasama niya yung mga taga-heinous crime yun. Unquote. So, totoo ang salaysay ni Mr. Matobato. Next slide. Ayon kay Mr. Matobato, mayroon siyang barel na Colt caliber 45. Ayon sa ating pagsasaliksik, meron siyang firearm license card na ang nakalagay na barel ay Colt na caliber 45 na pistol. Totoong muli ang kanyang salaysay. Ito ang kanyang permit to carry firearms outside of residence na again nakalagay caliber 45 Colt ang brand. Totoong muli ang kanyang sinasabi. Next slide. Dito sa kanyang application for firearms license, makikita natin na ang kanyang office na pinanggagalingan ay mayor's office. At ang kanyang nakalagay na, hindi ko mabasa eh. Anyway, kung ano man nakalagay, source of firearm is, ang pangalan dito ay si Arthur Las Cañas. Okay? Totoong muli na talagang silang dalawa ni Mr. Las Cañas ay magkasama. At ando doon siya sa opisina, meron siyang baril. Si Mr. Matobato. Ito naman ang permit to transport and purchase firearms and ammunition. Nakapangalan kay Mr. Matobato. Again, dito nakalagay ang Colt caliber 45 pistol. At dito sa permit to purchase firearms and ammunition, nakalagay ang kanyang address as care of Office of the City Mayor, Davao City. And dito po sa remarks, transfer of firearm from Arthur B. Las Cañas of Davao City. Next slide, please. Totoo po, muli ang kanyang sinabi. Ayon kay Mr. Matobato, siya ay hitman ng Davao Death Squad. Ngayon, base sa ating fact check, si General De La Rosa mismo ang nagkumpirma nito. And I quote, I heard his name, narinig ko yung pangalan niya, Edgar Matobato, doon sa Davao, ito daw ay tirador. So ngayon, ito po ang ating kailangan at this point pagtagpi-tagpiin. Merong isang hitman na may barel na lisensyado na naka-attach sa isang unit sa Davao City Hall Government under the Office of the City Mayor at mga pulis ang kanyang kasama. Lahat yan ay sinalaysay ni Mr. Matobato at totoo. So, ano ang ginagawa ng isang kilalang hitman sa Office of the City Mayor? Next slide, please. Ayon kay Matobato, noong June 19, 2014, isang linggo pagkamatay ni Richard King, siya ay hinuli at tinorture ng mga kapwa niyang miyembro ng Davao Death Squad para gawing fall guy. Base sa ating fact check, totoo nga na siya ay sinampahan ng kaso ng mga pulis na dati niyang kasamahan, sina Reynante Medina na isang SPO2 at isang Bienvenido Furog na SPO1 noong June 19, 2014. Again, totoo po ang salaysay ni Mr. Matobato. Ito rin dito sa report na ito ay lumabas na siya nga ay nakumpiskahan ng baril in relation, ang kanyang pagkakaresto ay in relation doon sa shooting incident that transpired in Davao City, which in this case was yung kay Mr. Richard King. So totoo, muli ang kanyang sinabi. Ayon kay Matobato, noong September 1, 2014, sumuko siya sa DOJ at napasailalim sa Witness Protection Program. Base sa ating fact check, dito po sa NBI report to the DOJ, nakalagay po dito, Matobato of Davao City, 55 years of age, has been under protective custody of the DOJ Witness Protection Program since September 1, 2014. Again, totoo po ang sinasabi ni Mr. Matobato. Next slide, please. Ayon kay Matobato, may kinidnap at pinatay nila ang 3 babae na pinaghihinalaang pusher at itinapon nila ang mga ito sa gilid ng kalsada sa San Rafael Village. Pakinggan natin ang report na ito ng GMA News.
San Rafael Village ang sinasabi naman ni Matobato kung saan nila itinapon ang mga katawan ng isang fixer sa LTO at 3 babaeng drug pusher umano. Ayon sa kapitan ng barangay, isang may itinapon nga ng mga bangkay ng 3 babae noon sa lugar. Pero hindi naman sa sigurado kung ito nga ang tinutukoy ni Matobato.
Yung between 2007 to 2008, ganyan. So na may natagpuan dito yung 2 babaeng tinapon sa may San Rafael, Gold Street.
Muli, totoo ang sinabi ni Mr. Matobato. Next slide, please. Ayon kay Matobato, noong 1993, ayon sa utos ni dating Mayor at ngayon Presidente Rodrigo Duterte, hinagisan nila ng granada ang ilang moske sa Davao City. Base sa ating fact check, totoo nga na merong noong December 28, 1993, merong mga moske sa Davao City na hinagisan ng granada. Next slide, please. So muli, totoo ang salaysay ni Mr. Matobato. Ayon kay Matobato, noong 2002, kinidnap nila ni Arthur Las Cañas at ang isang Sally Macdum sa Island Garden City of Samal. At ngayon, nagpapasalamat tayo dun sa video na binigay ni Senator Cayetano at ito ang pruweba na nagsasabi siya ng totoo. So panuorin natin.
During the Senate hearing on extrajudicial killings, witness Edgar Matobato claims to be part of the Davao Death Squad, and he says that Mayor Rodrigo Duterte ordered the killing of suspected criminals. Among the targets he disclosed was a certain Sally Macdum, who he says is an international terrorist. But people who know both Matobato and Macdum say Matobato is lying. Matobato is a regular customer at this eatery in Samal Island. This is where he usually takes his breakfast and lunch. He also became friends with the owners since his second wife is their third-degree relative. Matobato is into buying and selling of lands. He also served as a bodyguard to a local politician. He is known in the Peña Plata market. Business owners and residents say he always carries and shows off guns, including high-powered ones. Many say he is a troublemaker.
Natakot na kami kaya kasi marami kasi siyang baril ganito. Tapos may ganun pa siyang baril. Tapos nagsasabi siya na DDS daw siya. Lagi niya binabanggit yun, DDS ako, DDS ako. Tapos pag mapatay ako ng maraming tao, ganun ang sinasabi niya. Sabi, nakakatakot. Ano ba yung DDS? Pumapatay ng tao. Tapos bibili siya ng lupa, tapos papatay siya ng tao.
Meanwhile, Macdum is more popularly referred to as Eric or Turco. Since he is a Turkish national, he lived in Davao since 1997. He had a common-law wife and a child in Samal Island. Macdum and Matobato are not just neighbors. Their wives are cousins. Macdum's mother-in-law says Matobato initially tried to sell gold to Macdum after finding out he was into a buy-and-sell trade. But from there, he had another offer. Matobato tried to sell a piece of land to Macdum. Macdum agreed and was ready to pay. Dindin says the money is already prepared in a bag. They even met at Matobato's favorite eatery where the transaction was supposed to take place, but it could have been set up.
Nag-order sila sa kape niya. Wala pa mi nakaserve. Niabot ang kauban ni Matobato. Mga 7 katao. So nasiga ang mata sa Turko. Kaya anak siya nga, mura siya na nervous ba. Siya, Gar, anak po si Edgar nga. Kanang huwag ka lang matakot, sama ka na lang sa kanila. Pero may L300 yan sa baba, ma'am.
Dindin claims some investigators came over since Macdum's wife filed a complaint, but Matobato's wife tried to stop them from cooperating with the law enforcers.
Moari ang CIDG, ma'am, no? Pag nasa CIDG mo, puli ang igsoon, asawa nga. Nung ganang ino niya akong asawa ba nga? Nung dili ka mag-testimony ha? Ayaw pag-testimony ha, kay madaot ka, anak.
And until now, Macdum's family never found justice for him. Trisha Terada, CNN Philippines, Davao City.
So diyan po sa video ng CNN Philippines, pinapatotoo na kinidnap nga nila Mr. Edgar Matobato at kanyang grupo si Mr. Sally Macdum. Alam nyo, nung unang hearing, hindi kilala ito si Mr. Sally Macdum at pinagdudahan natin yung kanyang credibility dahil baka nga inexistent itong tao na ito. Pero dito, hindi siya nag-waiver. Ininsist niya na merong taong ganon at totoo nga na merong taong ganon na kinidnap sa Samal Island. At 7 silang kumidnap ayon dun mismo sa saksi. Ngayon, ayon kay Matobato, ang Laod Quarry sa Maa, Davao City na pagmamayari ng isang SPO4 Ben Laod ang tapunan ng mga sinasalvage nila. Base sa ating fact check, may mga nakitang mga buto. Noong 2009, dito po sa tinatawag na Gold Cup Firing Range, a privately owned premises run and operated by a retired policeman, retired SPO4 Bienvenido Laod alias Tatay Laod. Totoo po ang sinabi ni Mr. Matobato. Bukod pa riyan, again, another report, the property tagged as Gold Cup Firing Range is allegedly owned and operated by retired policeman identified by the CHR as SPO4 Bienvenido Laod alias Tatay Laod. Totoo ang kanyang salaysay. Dito sa recently posted article ng PCIJ at Rappler, lumalabas dito na noong November 9, 2014, dito nga sa Laod Quarry in Davao City ay naging natapunan ng mga bangkay na pinatay ng DDS. So muli, totoo ang kanyang sinabi. Next slide please. Ayon kay Matobato, ang pagkaalam niya, pinatay si Richard Ging dahil sa away sa babae. Ayon sa ating fact check, ito ay tugma sa pahayag mismo ni President Duterte. Panoorin natin.
Kulangko. Itong si Kulangko, now that I know from the intelligence gathering that he was connected with also Richard King Ang chismis ka nito na pinatay because of a love triangle, ménage à trois, they called it, because magkaibigan niya sila ng asawa niya, sa asawa ng kabila. But it turned out that sa drugs ito siya. But I think and I believe that he was not killed because of drugs. He was killed because kinain niya pati yung propiedad ng babae.
Ngayon, you be the judge. That's the word of the President. Hindi ko sinasabi na totoo. Ngayon, next. Ayon kay Matobato, noong 2010, kinidnap ng grupo ni Matobato ang 4 na tao. Isa sa kanila ay babaeng ex-barangay captain. Sila daw ay mga tauhan ni General Matiliano at ni General Palparan na sumusuporta kay Nograles na dating speaker. Sila ay pinatay at itinapon sa dagat. Ayon din kay Mr. Matobato, minsan ibinabalot nila ng masking tape or packaging tape, na yun ang tinuro niya, ang kanilang biktima upang hindi makilala. So base sa ating fact check, 2 supporter ni General Palparan ng party list group nila ay namatay, ay natagpo ang patay. Isa dito ay former barangay councilwoman Juliana Noquera. Isa ring bangkay ng nagngangalang Rolando Miranda was also recovered in the same day diyan po sa Kaputian District, Island Garden City of Samal. So again, totoo ang naging salaysay. Meron din dito another news report. Ito ay mga news report noong 2010 that the Regional Police Office of Region 11 identified the victims as Ronald Miranda, who was found dead in the Island Garden City of Samal, while former Barangay Kagawad Juliana Huling Noquera was found in Santa Maria, Davao del Sur. So totoo ang sinabi niya. Despite the denials of former Speaker Nograles and his son, Congressman Nograles. So dito po, sinasabi nila former Congressman Pastor Alcober at Palparan, ini-implicate nila si former Mayor and now President Duterte in the abduction of Noquera and Miranda. Totoo ang sinabi ni Mr. Matobato. Dito po, sa picture na ito, babasahin ko, makikita ninyo na iba't ibang anggulo ng isang bangkay na natagpuan. Ang sabi ni former Congressman June Alcober doon sa isang Facebook post, ito ay si Kaonald, security at anti-communist organizer namin sa Kalinan, Davao City. Kinidnap ng DDS kasama isang babae, barangay councilor at pinatay sa saksak at tinapon sa dagat ng Samal Island. Before nailibing ang bangkay, pinarada namin ito sa Davao City Hall and challenged Digong to arrest DDS responsible for their deaths. Hanggang ngayon, walang aksyon at resulta sa investigasyon. Makonsensya ka, Digong. Lam mo bakit pinatay sila? Gabaan gyud ka, Digong. Gabaan gyud ka. Totoo ang sinabi ni Mr. Matobato. Dito po, nais nating ipakita yung sinabi ni Mr. Matobato kung anong ginagawa nila dun sa masking tape o yung tinuro niya na packaging tape na binabalot sa muka. Makikita rin natin ang leeg na ginarote na ang tawag ni Matobato ay binigti. Next slide. Dito rin natin makikita na habang may bigti o may ginarote yung biktima, meron pa ring saksak sa dibdib. At kung makikita natin yung mga lacerations, sinusubukan nilang palakihin yung butas ng tiyan. Ito ang mga gawain ng DDS. Now that we have seen the different corroborating evidence on the testimony of Mr. Edgar Matobato, we are faced with a very frightening prospect, that of having a mass murderer as president of the country. I am sure, prior to this inquiry, all of us have heard of rumors about the Davao Death Squad, and that then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte was somehow behind it. But we were able to look the other way because it was convenient for us to do so. All that has changed. We cannot look the other way anymore because now Edgar Matobato is staring us in the face. He has testified that President Duterte, as mayor of Davao City, was the mastermind behind the Davao Death Squad, which was responsible for the killing of more than 1,000 persons from 1998 to 2013. With this, each of us in this August chamber is at a crossroads, and the whole world is watching our next step. On one hand, we can sweep these very serious allegations under the rug, or we can decide to fulfill our mandate in our system of checks and balances by expanding our investigation to rule out that possibility that indeed we have a mass murderer as President of the Republic. As for myself, the choice is quite clear. Having been guided all my adult life by this phrase in the PMA Cadet's Prayer, and I quote, "Guide us that we may discipline our lives to trail the difficult path rather than to go astray on the easier ways." End of quote. I now move that this privilege speech be referred to the Committee on Accountability of Public Officers and Investigations so that an inquiry be conducted to look into the alleged direct involvement of then Mayor and now President Rodrigo Duterte and other public officials in the killing of more than 1,000 persons in Davao City through the so-called Davao Death Squad. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
It's the pleasure of Senator Cayetano.
Mr. President, before the motion is acted upon by our Honorable Majority Leader and members of the Senate, will the gentleman yield to some questions for interpellations?
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this is very serious allegations. And since I think my colleague in the Senate, na diretsuhan niya na sinabi, and the Bible says the truth shall set us free. So that means that either we have a mass murderer as a president or we have mass liars as his critics. Because the two cannot coexist with each other. And I thought that's why we have the committee system, so that we can ferret that out in the committee, because the presentation today here was actually in violation of our rules. Because when a matter is already referred to a committee and being discussed and heard, it is for that committee unless we are asking the plenary to reverse. Having said that, it is the right of the gentleman to bring these things up. I didn't want to be accused of gagging him or not allowing him to speak. But I ask for his patience. I know this is a very emotional issue for all Filipinos. But as he is doing his job, may he allow me to do my job. My first question, Mr. President, is Your Honor, Senator Trillanes. Have you experienced a custodial investigation or a preliminary investigation? By any chance? No?
Yes, Mr. President, quite a lot, as far as I can recall.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, being an experienced senator, and I forgot that you passed through that, no? Because being a political science student and a lawyer, we were required to observe. So like sa akin po, sa Fiskalya ng Manila. And when the And I wanted to point it out, the point he was making about the affidavit and sworn statement. Nasabi kasi nung gentleman that English kasi to, kaya hindi naintindihan. Is it correct, Your Honor, Mr. President, Senator Trillanes, that sa custodial investigation, sa PI, and when the NBI, police, or fiscals talk to the witnesses, they are talked in their native language, not in English? Hindi po ba?
I wouldn't have an idea.
Yes, that is the standard rule in the preliminary investigation, because if not, that will not only be a violation of their rights, it will be a criminal case against those who are taking his statement, because it will be perjury on their side, because they will be putting words in the mouth of the witness. So my next question, sir, have you read the affidavit of Mr. Matobato submitted to the NBI?
Yes, Mr. President.
Did you notice anything about why it was in English?
Well, I believe it's a standard report of... anyway, let me just correct the gentleman that it is not technically an affidavit. It was a sworn statement, Mr. President.
That's one and the same thing, but I'll not argue with him there. Let me just read the first paragraph.
But Mr. President, it may be one in the same thing for lawyers, but for a grade 1 student, let us not assume that it is so,
Well,
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's a good point. I will go to that later. Sworn statement of Edgar Matobato E. Bernal given before Agent Eugene Javier IV in the presence of Agent Oliver de Rivera and witnessed by Joselita Abarquez here in the Office of the Anti-Organized and Transnational Crime Division, AOTCD, Death Investigation Unit, DIU, National Bureau of Investigation, Taft, this 4th day of September 2014. Note, Mr. President, hindi po to custodial investigation dahil yung witness ang nag-volunteer na siya ay magse-state witness at siya ang magbibigay ng kanyang alam. This isn't, hindi ito yung napapanood natin sa mga crime telenovelas or sa series sa TV na, o bakit wala kang abogado, o bakit you have the right to remain silent. He chose to speak. What does the first paragraph said? The following questions were asked in the dialect known to the affiant, and thereafter truly and accurately translated in the English language. So, Mr. President, hindi po totoo yung sinabi ni Senator Trillanes kanina na dahil English, hindi naiintindihan nung affiant or nung ni Mr. Matobato. Sapagkat in-explain to sa kanya, may witnesses, binisaya, tinagalog, at okay. Second point, Mr. President. Senator Trillanes, are you aware where this affidavit went after the NBI?
Mr. President, this representation is willing to submit and accede and concede to the point of the gentleman so that we can expedite the whole thing, because we have a pending motion that the body needs to address,
yes.
Mr. Chairman.
But, Mr. President, Senator Trillanes tried to paint to the public that Mr. Matobato is credible, and I'd like the chance to engage him in a polite and a sober discussion that I respectfully and humbly disagree with his presentation. That was his assessment. It's not my assessment. But instead of giving my assessment and standing on a question of personal privilege, pabayaan natin ang publiko ang makinig kung ano ang tama, sino tama, at sila mag-judge kay Mr. Matobato. Having said that, sir, I ask you if you know where it went, because it went to the Department of Justice that accepted his affidavit. That kept him in the witness protection program. And that affidavit was partially used to file the cases, which was dismissed. And I'd like to ask Senator Trillanes, are you aware that the case filed by Mr. Matobato against the 5 policemen for torture, arbitrary detention, violation of human rights of a detained person were dismissed by the DOJ during the time of President Aquino? Are you aware, sir?
Mr. President, again, I am wondering where all of these questions would lead to, because if the gentleman intends to test the credibility of Mr. Matobato, then I am the wrong person to ask. I have presented the findings that we gathered based on our limited capability, and I presented my case to the floor. So it's up to the people, and especially the senators, to decide on the matter. Because I'm not the one going to testify, or I wasn't the one who testified or made allegations against President Duterte, Mr. President.
I beg to disagree, Mr. President. In this hall, Senator Trillanes chose upon himself to make representations and make conclusions that Mr. Matobato is credible, that that there are no inconsistencies. So when someone stands up to interpolate, it is to test either our prejudice or our wisdom. Meaning, kung ang initial tingin ko, mali ka, sir, and then nasagot mo ako ng tama, edi I will admit, mali pala ako. At tama ka pala, at credible pala si Mr. Matobato. But, kung hindi masagot, or mali ang sagot, or mali ang ano, then we expect that we'll have at least a consensus. You may leave this hall believing that he's credible. I may leave this hall believing that he is not credible. But at least the fellow senators will have the benefit of both sides, and not only the side of Senator Trillanes. And the public will also get to know. Anyway, Mr. President, on June 30, 2016, the day the President took his oath, dinismiss po ng DOJ. Hindi po DOJ ni President Duterte yan. It was through Assistant State Prosecutor Charlie Guhit. Which brings me to the next statement, the next question.
Just an interjection on that point. Does the gentleman know which part of the day on June 30 was this case dismissed?
Sir President,
because on June 30 in the afternoon, President Duterte already assumed as President of the Republic.
Let's find out, Mr. President.
So
but
the gentleman apparently is not aware also of these details, which is very essential to the whole point that he's making.
Mr. President, being a lawyer, I know for a fact that the DOJ Secretary cannot dismiss it by himself. All these papers and all these recommendations are on the desk of the Secretary from layers and layers. That's why I mentioned it's through Assistant State Prosecutor Charlie Guhit. In fact, Mr. President, I was in Malacanang. Senator Drilon here was also in Malacanang. You were in Malacanang during the oath-taking, and the oath-taking of the DOJ Secretary was still after. But for fairness, we will go there and look at it. But I stand by my word, Mr. President, that my belief is that all of these assessments made from the lower prosecutors to the state prosecutor to the DOJ was done during the Aquino administration. Which leads me, Mr. President, to the question that I'd like to ask the Honorable Senator Trillanes. Do you know the doctrine or the theory about half-truths? Have you heard about this?
In as much as I would want to be schooled by those legal jargons, but I wouldn't want to waste the time of our colleagues, Mr. President. I believe we can schedule another whole day seminar if the senator would wish to school me on legal matters, but the issue remains addressed, Mr. President. The motion is presented on the floor, and we have yet to decide on the matter, Mr. President.
Sir President, I do not wish to school anyone. It's not for me. In fact, I approached some of the senators here to help mentor me during this time because I'm used to being in the opposition. There's much for me to learn. But I bring up the doctrine or the concept of half-truths because this is what criminals use, and this is what people na naninira or people who want to destroy credibility of others use. What is the concept of half-truths? So I'll give you an example, Mr. President, just to continue. No? It'll just take me 1 minute, Your Honor. If Senator Pimentel, our Senate President, is in front of me, Senator Trillanes and I are here, and then I say, can I have 1 minute para mag-CR? Then I get to the CR, but katabi po ng CR sa likod, may nagsaksakan po. No? At meron pong patay. Then I come back here. No? So if Senator Villanueva stands up and says, Alan was in the session hall, umihi siya, and then sinaksak niya yung Mr. X siya pumatay. It is a half-truth. In fact, it's two-thirds truth because 1, I am here. 2, umihi ako. I don't know why he knows that. But 3, hindi totoo na siya ay pinatay ko. I say that because the presentation of Senator Trillanes were full of half-truths. Wala naman pong pinag-usapan na meron po talagang 1993 bombing ng katedral at ng moske. And yung mga ninarrate ni Mr. Matobato, pwede niyang basahin sa diaryo yon tapos dugtungan. That goes to my second question, my third question, Senator Trillanes, Mr. President. The nature of the testimony has to be or cannot be hearsay. So may I ask the good senator, how much of the testimony, in his opinion, of Mr. Matobato was hearsay?
Well, let me address the first point first, Mr. President, because the gentleman has a tendency to jump from one subject to the other. Okay, on the first point that he mentioned regarding the doctrine of half-truths being used by criminals and liars, I would concede and accept the argument of the senator because apparently he may be following the doctrine of it takes one to know one. Now, let me go to the next point. He mentioned that Mr. Matobato didn't say anything about the 1993 bombing of the cathedral. Now, I direct him to page 16 of the transcript of the September 15, 2016 hearing of the Committee on Justice. And I quote, "Oo, rebel returnees at saka pulis, nagkuan na kami, yon mga opisyal na namin. 1993, binomba ang katedral ng Davao City, yung simbahan. Umorder naman si Mayor Duterte na masakerin yung mga moske ng mga Muslim." Now, just this point would highlight the example that it is the gentleman who is practicing that doctrine of half-truths being used by criminals and liars. So, there's so many of that. That's why we needed to present the truth in this earlier presentation, because precisely the gentleman twisted so many information, so many facts during the last hearing. Again, Mr. President, if the gentleman is opposing, then I believe it is time to divide the House.
I'm not opposing yet. I ask if he's willing to be interpolated. Kung tatakbo siya, ayaw na niya. Kung ayaw niya magpa-interpolate, that's his call. But usually, Mr. President, because this is a hall of gentlemen and ladies, in the same patience that we sat here and listened to his presentation, usually, the senators also patiently ask for questions, receive the questions, answer them. Actually, Mr. President, it's quite parliamentary to say it takes one to know one, but I'll not take any offense. I'm used to that kind of, even now sa cellphone, araw-araw, there's a brigade to curse, etc., me, and etc., and it's okay. But I'll just follow his logic. It takes one to know one. So he says, I'm a person of half-truth. That's why huli ko si Matobato na nag-half-truth. So siya na rin nag-admit na si Matobato is using half-truths. Following his own logic. I will sacrifice my own credibility. If he is saying it takes one to know one, so, and I know that half-truths ang ginagamit ni Mr. Matobato, so he is admitting that his own witness, or the witness that he stood up to protect or to explain, expound. But having said that, Mr. President, hindi po ako ang testigo. So if I use half-truths or if I use misleading, leading questions as a senator to get to the truth, that is allowed. Yung pong hindi allowed, yung witness na hindi niya sasabihin ang katotohanan. Bakit po? If you notice, Mr. President, and I see the famous Secretary Barbo right in front of me, he's famous during the impeachment of of a former president, where he again and again said, if you remember that, Secretary Barbo, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Because the reality is, you can say a half-truth. I can tell my wife, umuwi ako ng alas 12. Di ba? Hindi ako tumingin sa babae. Pero nakapikit pala ako nung kasama ko yung babae. So, hindi whole truth yon, half-truth yon. But I ask that, Mr. President, in coordination with the question of hearsay, with the patience of Senator Trillanes, I didn't jump to a next. It's connected. Again and again, it has been proven. I also have my presentation, but I will not bore you with it. I will submit it to the Committee on Justice. And the good Senator Gordon has instructed us not to lecture the members. He has instructed us that if we have observations, we submit it to the committee, we discuss it among ourselves, then we will vote upon it. So, but because Senator Trillanes brought this up, I am forced to also give my own observations. No? Every time that we look at Mr. Matobato's testimony, he jumps from pretending to have personal knowledge, going to hearsay. The best example dyan is yung kay Mr. Macdum. Sa affidavit po, pinakita na rin po ito ni Senator Trillanes, ang sabi niya, ang sinabi po niya doon, ang sinabi po niya dito ay terrorist lang. Terrorist lang. Tinanong ko siya, asawa yon ng asawa ng pinsan mo. Magpinsan yung asawa nyo. Papatayin mo, sinabi terrorist lang, walang paliwanag. That is contrary to human experience. Kung magpinsan ang asawa namin ni Senator Manny Pacquiao at balak akong gulpihin, hindi nga patayin, gulpihin, it is but human experience, it is but logical that Senator Pacquiao will tell his wife, pakisabihan mo nga yung pinsan mo, di ko na yung kaya yung mukha ni Alan na yung gugulpihin ko na yan. Unless it happens spontaneously, na magkatabi kami, bigla na lang nainis, wag naman sana mangyari, Senator Pacquiao. No? But it is against human nature. So what does the affidavit said? The affidavit said, pinaliwanag ni Mr. Matobato na siya ang nagbomba ng moske, which he conveniently forgot, even if paulit-ulit ang question ko. Doon po sa Davao Death Squad, doon po nung tinanong siya at present siya sa unang hearing, nung palang pong unang punta niya sa hearing, ang sabi niya, at saka pagka 1998, sa pagka-umpisang pag-mayor ni Mayor Duterte, kinuha ako sa batalyon dahil maganda naman iyong performance sa Kapgu. Tapos pagkuha niya, dinala niya sa Davao City at nagtagtag siya ng grupo ng Lambada Boys. Hindi po yun ang sinabi niya sa affidavit niya. Sa affidavit niya, ang sinabi niya, I was only a farmer in Davao. Growing up, when I was in my 20s, I realized I need to make a better living, which is substantial, Mr. President, because he testified 3,000 lang daw sweldo niya. Pero namili siya na maging mass murderer. Ano pong kasunod? At the same time, I was attracted to the power, influence of people working for the local government because they were untouchable. It was then that I decided to join the Davao City government through the civilian security force. With your patience, Mr. President, kay Richard King, eto po ang sabi niya, they kept telling me to confess that I was the one who killed Mr. King. But I never did. Tama po si Senator Trillanes doon. Hindi niya claim na siya. Pero ano po sabi niya dito? Because I knew who killed him. I know SPO2, Renate Medina, killed Mr. Richard King. Nobody else in Davao will take a project of this scale and against a person of this level but SPO2, Renate Medina. Mr. President, what did he say in the September 15 hearing? Nagbago. Sabi niya, ang nag-utos niyan ay si Paulo Duterte. Ma'am, ang nag-utos niyan ay si Paulo Duterte, etc., etc., sa McDonald's. Tapos eto sabi niya, Word for word to, page 50 to 52 ng transcript. Pagkatapos yung iyong tumira kay Richard King ay inyong kasamahan ko na rebel returnee na may kasamang pulis doon. Matobato, sila si Joel Tapales alias Turco at saka si Luloy Gabas, ma'am. So, Mr. President, the presentation seems to paste things together to make it appear that the inconsistencies were minor. No, sir. When you change the names of the person who killed, when you change how they were killed, kay Mr. Macdumpo, ang sinabi niya, at paulit-ulit ako, tinanong ko siya, nilaslas nyo ba liig? Sabi niya, hindi. Tinanong ko, tinadtad ba? Hindi. Pero sa affidavit po, or at least ganun po ang concept ng pagtatanong. Sa pagdating po sa affidavit, ang sagot po sa affidavit, nilaslas po nila. So it's very different. That's why my next question, sir, to you, Mr. President, Senator Trillanes, you keep mentioning that if the inconsistencies are minor, that is okay. Are you referring to a Supreme Court decision?
Mr. President, my privilege speech was very clear. I presented my case, and I believe the information that we were able to gather merited further investigation. That's why I made the motion. Now, I respect the views of the gentleman, and he can oppose all he wants. But at the end of the day, that motion remains to be addressed. And no matter what I do, I'm confident, and no matter what we can come up with, I am confident that we won't be able to convince the gentleman anyway. So might as well get this over and done with by dividing the House.
Mr. President, hindi naman siguro tama yung hit and run dito sa Senado. Yes, he might not be able to convince me, but what about Senator Soto? What about Senator J.V. Hercito behind him? What about the public that is listening? Yung ibig sabihin hit and run, hindi naman pwedeng yung isa magsasalita and then hindi natin tatapusin yung interpellation, doon na kayagad tayo sa motion. That has been the tradition. Kaya nga po na nabuo din yung na kahit nasa yung favorite po na sabihin ni Brother Eddie na tatay po ni Senator Joel Villanueva na kahit sa Plaza Miranda tayo magdebate. Pero dito din po nanggaling sa Senado yun at saka sa Plaza Miranda because walang umaatras po sa debate. What happens po, Mr. President, with your patience, Senator Trillanes? Labas natin lahat ng arguments. Then let's be the people in the gallery. Nahiya ako sa mga beauty queen na nasa likod ko. We are here to honor them. I want to wrap up and finish, but they will understand that this is of grave national importance, Mr. President. Mr. President, in GR number 179497, People of the Philippines versus Mamarungkas. This is a recent case, 2012. But if you Google po, napakaraming kaso nito. This is from one of my favorite justices, no, Justice Castillo. But there are Justice Del Castillo, sorry. There are many other cases that say practically the same thing. Ito po ang sabi ng Supreme Court. The perceived inconsistency on whether Gepayo knows Ampatuan even before the incident is inconsequential as to discredit the credibility of Gepayo's testimony. The inconsistencies pointed out by the appellant pertains only to the collateral or trivial matters and has no substantial effect on the nature of the offense. In fact, it even signifies that the witness was neither coached nor was lying on the witness stand. What matters is there is no inconsistencies. Mr. President, this is the important part. In Gepayo's complete and vivid narration as far as the principal occurrence and positive identification as Ampatuan as one of the principal assailants are concerned. The court has held, although there may be inconsistencies in the testimony of witness on minor details, they do not impair the credibility where the consistency is relating into the principal occurrence and positive identification of the assailant. Meaning, Mr. President, pag yung positive identification at yung occurrence ng crime, sino, saan, paano naganap, sino kasali, paano mo pinatay, hindi minor inconsistency yon. At tad-tad ng inconsistencies ang testimonya ni Mr. Matobato. In fact, hindi ko na nga iisa-isahin dito. Even nung sinabi niyang sa McDonald's, hearsay na nga, mali pa. Kasi hindi naman siya pumatay, narinig niya lang sa iba, tapos mali pa. Hindi pa dun sa kung saan pinatay. Mr. President, yung masking tape, I just want to mention that dahil ako nagdala nito. You know, if you talk to a graphic artist, for example, especially olden days nung hindi pa sa computer, sa akin, especially nung elementary school ako, pag sinabing Mongol number 2 or pencil, lahat naman sa akin na may lead pencil eh. Di ba? Pero dun po, sa yun ang trabaho nila. Dun po, sa mga artist, may iba-ibang number yan. May iba-ibang kapal. May iba-ibang klaseng pens, pencils, etc. No? Why? That is their trade. So if you look at the killings that are now going on, where people are taped from head to toe or just their arms, it is the same as some drug cartels. I will not tell you the nationality. Yung ibang mga ambassadors umaangal na sa atin because it is linked with their drug cartels. No? But my point, Mr. President, is this. Kung tatlo kami ni Senator Manny Pacquiao dito, ang killer, hindi pwedeng nasa kotse mo may masking tape ka parate. Hindi pwedeng may lime ka kasi kung maghuhukay ka, lalagyan mo ng ano yun eh. May mga chemical or may mga lalagay dyan para hindi bumaho. Or right now, grabe na yung DNA, so may ilalagay ka dyan. If you're a professional killer, DDS is claimed to be professional killers. Right? Remember, this isn't a homicide or one murder. They are claiming that this is organized crime. So what do I mean, Mr. President? Tatlo kami ni Senator Pacquiao, Senator Joel. Sabi, pare, may papatayin tayo. Bumili ka na ng tape. Alam na namin kung anong klaseng tape. Pag pumunta si Alan sa National Bookstore at sabihin ko masking tape at babalik ako at ipapakita ko kay Manny Pacquiao ang masking tape, ang sabihin niya sa akin, ang bobo mo naman, Alan. Kasi yung masking tape, madaling maputol yan. Ang masking tape, ganito yan. Ang masking tape, ganyan. Kung may matalas yan, kung may ganyan yan, malalagari, matatanggal yan. Ang ginagamit namin dyan, duct tape o packing tape. So, kahit grade 1 ka, Mr. President, I work with a lot of professionals. No? Yung gumagawa ng sapatos ko galing Marikina, professional yan. Yung pakong bakya na ginagamit, halimbawa, at kailan gagamitin, kailan yung pandikit, anong klaseng pandikit. Di ba? Yung pong pag ikaw po ay edad na natin, Mr. President, at hindi ko alam kung ilan sa atin dito ang nagpapakulay ng buhok, whether katulad ng style ni Joel Villanueva, kung natural, or ako na may puti-puti, at i-admit ko, minsan pinapaitim ko ng konti, may pangalan lahat yan, Mr. President. Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin sa gagawa, kulay lang. Diba? May technical yan, Mr. President. So wag natin po sabihin pa ulit-ulit, grade 1 lang yan, hindi alam. Yung tao po is 57 years old, claims to be a killer, claims to be a professional. Let's not, every time he makes a mistake, let's not say grade 1 lang yan. Napakaraming magaling na tao na grade 1, hindi nakapag-aral. One of my idols na hindi nakatapos ng college, I think high school, si Senator and then Secretary Ople. And he was one of the best labor secretaries and senators this nation has, no? Bill Gates, we can name 1 million people, thousands of people. So let's not make that as an excuse, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. President, let me just interject because the gentleman is saying that this is a debate, but it has been a monologue since around 4:20. Now, I'm confused now. He started with the masking tape, then he jumped to his parlor, whatever, then to Senate President Ople. Where is the debate?
I'll show him where the debate is, Mr. President. The debate is when I ask him a question, but he keeps answering me na emotion na. So napipilitan ako na sabihin na lang ang point ko diretso. But if the gentleman will graciously answer my questions, I still have a lot of questions here that are relevant and to the point, Mr. President. I don't think it's parliamentary feasible for one senator to stand up and expect na wala na lang magtatanong and we just take their statement hook, line, and sinker, Mr. President. Ngayon, having said that, I apologize for my style. Kanya-kanyang style kasi iyan eh. So, if I ask the question, sir, but you keep answering me, na doon na lang tayo sa motion. So, I'll go to my next question. Are you saying that there is state-sponsored extrajudicial killings?
Mr. President, that's why we need to investigate to rule out any possibility that President Duterte is not involved or was not involved with the DDS during his time as mayor. We are not in a position to make any judgments either way. But I believe, based on what I have presented, it merits at least a deeper look. Because not only the whole country is watching, but the whole world is watching our next steps. So that's the point of the motion that I was making, Mr. President. I'm not here to oust anybody. Well, not yet, at least. But I'm just here proposing to investigate a very serious matter. And I believe the gentleman has a bottomless pit of wisdom, and I'm going to concede that he is even wiser than me many times over. But again, let's get to the point. Now, if the gentleman keeps on saying that I would want to run away, if he would recall, when I sat beside him during the hearing, he was the one who ran away. Now, unless you want me to go near you again, just say so,
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
For the record, no, kaibigan ko siya, nagulat ako ba't niya tinignan yung mata ko ng gano'n, para niya ako kakainin nung sinabi niya, hindi kita popormahin dito. Di ko na sinabi sa media, but sabihin ko na rin ngayon dahil bring up niya. Sabi niya sa akin, pa-Bible ka pa. Evil naman pinoprotektahan mo. But for the record, anywhere, anytime, di kita nang aatrasan eh. Pero ang sabi mo kasi, you're willing na mag-debate, kaya debate tayo. Kaharap natin tao, Senado to, sawang-sawa na ako, basahin sa dyaryo, sabihin sa atin, ang galing ng mga Sanlonga, ang galing ng mga Tanyada, ang galing ng mga Diokno. But nagagalingan din naman ako sa nandito. That's why umurong ako away from you kasi ayaw mo ako tigilan. Trina-trash talk mo ako, ayaw ko na magkaabutan tayo dahil ang pagkaalam ko, para tayong magkapatid at magkaibigan tayo. But now, if you're going to tell me, lalapitan mo ako dito, lapitan mo ako yakapin, yayakapin kita. Pero lapitan mo ako, nahamunin mo ako, hindi kita aatrasan. Hindi naman problema yun, Senator Trillanes. I do not know where this hate is coming from. We are from different sides of the political aisle now, but I never treated you as an enemy. I've always treated you as a friend. So I just want to finish, Mr. President, my questions. Because he was given the opportunity to discuss the merits of Mr. Matobato's questions. Can I not be given the opportunity to test his thesis? Do I want a fight? Of course not, Senator Trillanes. I still think that there are many fights in the future na magiging magkaalyado tayo. But I do not know why there is animosity just because we're in different sides now, sir. Does that mean that we cannot do this as friends? Ibig sabihin, pag iba ang tingin mo sa presidente, iba tingin ko, magkaaway at magkalaban na tayo?
Mr. President, does the gentleman sense any animosity in my tone of voice? I believe I am at my calmest. Relatively speaking, this is could be one of the best behaviors I ever had in the...
Mr. President, Judas kissed Jesus Christ. Judas kissed Jesus Christ. Would Jesus Christ tell him, Judas, wala kang animosity? So that's what I'm saying, Mr. President. I was asking the question, siya po ang sumagot na you want me to come over here. I want to have a discussion with you. We can sit down.
To calm us down further, if there is no objection, the chair would like to suspend the session. Ano? Anong na-research niyo dun sa ano? Ha? Hindi, yung very, very cool ang pagkasabi. The words are normal words. Yung the one, pero ito doon. Parang kidating papalpatit ng place. Ayun naman siya, bullying. Ano ba? Hindi, pero what is, ano rule ba yun? Wala. Hindi, kasi pagdating sa parliamentary conduct. Kasi hindi, sir. Si Alan lumabas na yata. Naman, wala naman. Hindi, wala naman. Doon lang sa ano, si Session is resumed.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
before the suspension, the floor was with Senator Trillanes and Senator Cayetano. But before we continue, may I acknowledge the guests of Senator Manny Pacquiao, Mr. President. We have the founder and chairman of Miss Global Philippines Foundation, Ms. Riza Lau, and the director of Miss Global Philippines Foundation, Ms. Rosemary Basa. We also have this afternoon Miss Global England, Miss Sophie Rankin, Miss Global First Runner-Up, Miss Camille Hiro, Miss Britt Rekadal, fourth runner-up, together with Mr. Alec Cao and Dr. John Johnson, Mr. President. We'd like to welcome them to the Senate.
Welcome to the Senate, to the Miss Global franchise. So, Senator Trillanes
And Senator Cayetano.
and
Mr.
Senator Cayetano have the floor.
Sir President, after talking to the beauty queens and organizers in the back, the good news is I have sufficiently cooled down. The bad news is when I get home, there will be a battle that I cannot win. But you are the witness that I simply talk to them. Having said that, Mr. President, again may I reiterate, I cannot forget the camaraderie I shared with Senator Trillanes. And may you, Mr. President, not him, but may you and our colleagues forgive me when I react this way, when I feel that I'm being intimidated. Because when you say that, ikaw nga umalis sa tabi ko, lalapitan kita dyan, it seems to say that you're a coward. No? And I'm here simply to discuss issues of national importance. And if he will indulge me, and effectively naman, Mr. President, nakat na yung momentum, so I'll just make these manifestations instead of additional questions. First, Mr. President, I think it is an insult on the committee for a member to present in the floor his individual assessment of witnesses shown in the committee until there is a committee report. For me, the proper procedure would be, with all due respect to Senator Trillanes, is to present the witness, allow him to testify, wait for your term, use the media if you want to say he's credible or not. Your opinions are always relevant, always asked for. Then find time to ask the committee to submit or manifest your observations. But to do it in the floor, it will appear na nag-abogado tayo for or against a witness. And that was not my intention now to say na nag-abogado ako against, but we have contra reviews. So, secondly, Mr. President, I stood up to show that nothing has changed. Most of Mr. Matobato's testimony is hearsay. Those that are not hearsay are inconsistent to the point that will not be credible in court or in any legal proceedings, precisely because it goes into yung crime mismo. Thirdly, Mr. President, allow me to share you just a short story. Mr. President, there is this town of peace and amity. Nagkakasundo lahat ng tao doon. No? But once upon a time, medyo napikon yung isang residente, nagkalat siya ng mga rumors. Sabi niya, mass murderer to si ganito, pumapatay ito si ganito, walang ganito si ganito. No? Lahat na ng sinabi, walang pruweba, at pag tinanong siya, sinasabi lang. Importante, dapat malaman natin. Ang problema, kinalat na bago inimbestigahan. When he found out it's not true, pumunta siya sa pare para mangumpisal. Tinanggap ng pare yung kanyang pagkumpisal, pero ito po ang binigay sa kanyang penance. This is not an original story, but I forgot who I heard it from. But I learned from it from my childhood and I kept to it, Mr. President. So ang ginawa po nung pare, sabi sa kanya, may unan ka ba sa bahay? Yes, sir. Yung unan mo ba, balihibo ng manok o balihibo ba ng ibon ang nandun? Oo. Kunin mo. Aakyat tayo ng bundok. Umakyat sila sa pinakamataas na bundok. Sa pinakamataas na bundok, sinabi niya nung pare, eto penance mo, pakawalan mo lahat ng balihibo, all the feathers inside the pillow, let it go and let the wind blow it. So, nilaslas po niya. Yung unan, lumipad lahat ng balihibo, lumipad po lahat ng feathers. Susunod na sinabi ng pare, so sabi niya, Father, am I now forgiven? So, not yet. Go and fetch all those feathers. Kunin mo lahat ng balihibo na yon. Sabi po niya, Sir, posible naman yon. Nagkalat na sa gubat, sa dagat, sa bayan. No? Sabi niya, well, my son, I hope you learned your lesson. Pag nagkalat kayo ng akusasyon, hindi nyo na basta't mababawi yan. And with all due respect to my colleagues here, Senator De Lima and Senator Trillanes, they've made a run of it for the last 2 months. If you look at the New York Times, the Washington Post, Time Magazine, all assumptions. None of them investigated first before a verdict was done. People in the human rights always say, human rights, human rights, human rights. Ano ba pinaka-basic sa human rights? Sanctity of life. Pangalawa po, due process. To ask. Magtanong muna bago ka convicted. Madalas sabihin ng mga law professors, Mr. President, and you're a lawyer, a bar top-notcher at that. Hindi po ba yung sinasabi si Adam and Eve nung kinain yung mansanas? Hindi naman sinabi ni Lord nag-sin kayo, paparusahan ko kayo. Tinanong, Eva, Adan, bakit kayo nagko-cover? Adam and Eve, why are you embarrassed? Why are you covering yourself? Even if the Lord knew they were guilty, they were given the chance. I've been doing my readings for different reasons about the United Nations, the High Commission on Human Rights, the ASEAN where we went, and next week, Mr. President, and I will appeal to the committee to again follow our agreement or our soft agreement here in the Senate that pag may foreign trip ang Presidente is going to Vietnam this Wednesday and Thursday, he'll be representing the country. Let's not give any cause that the foreign or local media will be asking him about domestic issues when he's trying to protect our OFWs there, trying to bring home foreign investments, trying to have allies with our maritime dispute, especially in the West Philippine Sea. No? So anyway, Mr. President, if you look at the facts, there are as many deaths, murder and homicide during the Aquino time as during now. What is the difference? The difference now is the police are being told, kung ang buhay nyo ay tagilid, if there is threat of harm on you, engage them. And that is the first reason bakit maraming napapatay. Because most of these pushers are actually high. They're also users. Hindi nila nakita na pag police operations, akala nila yung buy bust, isa lang parang kami ni Senator Manny, so siya nang huhuli, akala ko, magbibigay lang ako, Senator Manny, high ako, paglabas mo ng barel, police ako, makikipagbarilan, hindi nila alam, 3-4 kami na sa likod. Eh nakatutok na sa ulo mo yung barel, siyempre, babarilin siya. There are many cases, granada, bubunutin na, pinutukan. Second point, Mr. President, paano naman yung sinasabing vigilante? Let me thank the Philippine media and let me thank them for hearing our plea for our appeal to their patriotism. Ngayon po, hindi na nakalagay vigilante killing. Vigilante-like killing. What's the difference? Yung vigilante po kasi, sponsored by the state yan. As I keep saying, parang Batman. Ang police may kakamping Batman, hindi na nililitis, they don't try the criminal, they just shoot them dead. They are the accusers, they are the judge, they are the executioners. But when it is a mafia war, when it is a war among organized crime, when it is gang-related, the US, New York, Mexico, Los Angeles, and even in Europe, they describe it as gang killings. Question, why does the PNP use vigilante-like rather than gang killings? Because they're still investigating. Pag sinabi naman nila na gang-related, or organized crime related. May tatayo na naman dito, sabihin, hindi, vigilante yan eh. So sala sa lamig, sala sa init, Mr. President. But why is it so exhausting? Kasi Mr. President, I think for our last few presidents, President Duterte pinakamaraming nagawa in his first 100 days. But because the Senate has focused on one issue, human rights and DDS, together, hindi alam ng tao that we're doing a lot about emergency powers. Hindi alam ng tao that Senator Joel Villanueva and his committee is doing a lot para matigil yung endo or yung 5 months, 5 months, 6 months, 6 months. People do not know that the Senate President with the majority leader are taking care of many issues including power sufficiency. That Senator Lacson is coordinating with the police to find out what they need from their sweldo, uniform, equipment. That Senator Lauren is having her budget hearings to make sure that this will be the first Duterte budget because it's now an Aquino budget. Because that's the reality. Our media and our people want controversy, like controversy. That's what sells papers. So may I not appeal to Senator Trillanes and Senator De Lima and the others? Can't we also help the other 100 million Filipinos who will also gain from trade, will also gain from what the President is working on? Eh gusto natin pahabain to. Gusto natin live parate. Gusto natin hearing linggo-linggo. Gusto natin sa session hall parate. Hindi naman nagsasuffer si President Duterte. Because whatever we give him, 1 milyon ang problema niya. Pero yung OFWs natin, nagsasuffer. Stock market natin, nagsasuffer. Mga industriya natin, nagsasuffer. So, Mr. President, let me end in that appeal. I can talk for the rest of the day. We can debate consistent, inconsistent. Meron na naman mga witnesses daw na gustong i-present. Diba? O sige, di dun sa isang committee, pagbigyan naman natin ibang committees at pagbigyan naman natin yung ibang issues. Let me end with this, Mr. President. Wala pa ngang 100 days ang ating Pangulo. Kay President Aquino noon, halos 100% ang support. Si Senator Enrile, kalaban ng mga Aquino, 100% ang support. Ang honeymoon period ni President Aquino natigil 2013 after the election nung nagkaroon ng Napoles issue. But for 3 years, everyone made an effort to support and help. Am I saying let's not criticize? Pwede naman. Pero yung iba gusto talagang durugin, and my good friend, or at least I considered him my good friend, Senator Trillanes, even said, hindi pa naman sa pagpapaalis sa kanya. But I do know for a fact that there is. And some of my friends here said, wag niyo na sabihin ko sino yung pangalan. There is a plot to change and remove him. Not necessarily by politicians. Why? The oligarchs, some like him because they're beginning to see the logic of a level playing field, but some do not. The drug lords, definitely ayaw nila. And they're losing billions. The corrupt officials, gutom ngayon. Di ko sinasabing walang corruption ngayon, but very tame. Because takot lahat nagbabantay. Sinabi na ng Chief PNP, kasunod na dito yung sa illegal na gambling. So, bagong kalaban na naman. Sa mining, while it is true that minsan sumasobra ang DNR, na may mga legitimate mining operations na tingin nila per-persecute. Totoo din naman na napakarami din naman na umabuso sa ating kalikasan at dapat tignan. Sa land conversion, totoo naman na hindi naman dapat complete na gawin na meron moratorium kasi paano naman yung development, housing, kalye, etc. But totoo naman din, Mr. President, na dati, yung pinaka-prime natin na agricultural land, yung pati na target. So let me end by saying, Mr. President, President Duterte is a reset button. And every time you reset anything, a game, a business, family relations, magulo. Kasi those who are enjoying from the status quo, ayaw niyan. No. So, let me also end with an appeal. Let us learn to be able to debate here na walang personalan, na walang intimidation, whether it's a connotation or denotation, whether diretsuhan o hindi. No? You will argue your point to death. I will argue my point to death. But in the end, we are fellow senators. And let us believe. And dun sa mga nakikinig na nag-criticize sa akin or Senator Trillanes, please believe that Senator Trillanes has the best interest of the country in his heart, as I do. But we disagree how to get there, Mr. President. And definitely, I do not agree that the best way to get there is to remove President Duterte, who is doing a great job. Thank you, Mr. President, and I thank Senator Trillanes for allowing me to interpolate. Mr. President, just to the motion to send it to the Blue Ribbon Committee, may I just point out a problem and may I throw it to the Majority Leader. Our rule says that when a topic is already given to a committee, it stays there. The way for removal is either you get a certain number of signatures from the members or they submit a committee report. So if I'm not mistaken, the human rights resolution and the privilege speech of myself and Senator Gordon was referred to the Justice and Human Rights Committee. The DDS resolution was also filed there. But in the DDS resolution, it was still crafted in a way that the legislative purpose is the peace and order and human rights. So if we now giving it to the Blue Ribbon, binubunot natin sa human rights. But let me add another aspect. Senator Trillanes stated today that baka mass murderer ang Pangulo. And I'm saying in concept, I will not read the transcript, no, but he was saying, we have to investigate dito kasi paano kung mass murderer. The proper venue for that investigation will be in the House of Representatives. Because if a committee starts investigating that now, you're investigating the president, we will be the judges later on in the impeachment process. So I'm not objecting, I am just giving my legislative and legal opinion before everybody here makes their decision kung saan committee po ito mapupunta. Again, Mr. President, thanks for your patience.
We are still at the interpellation stage. Majority Leader?
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I move to recognize Senator Gordon, who wished to interpellate Senator Trillanes.
No more. He's making the Senate. He's ready for the motion, but not interpellation.
Therefore, may allow me to just make a manifestation also, Mr. President, because I was quite uncomfortable with some of the issues that were raised earlier. I have been a senator under 6 presidents, Mr. President. I don't know about the others now. I have been a senator since the time of President Ramos, Macapagal Arroyo, Estrada, Aquino, Gloria, then Aquino, and now President Duterte. It is only during the time of President Erap that I was part of the majority that supported the president. All the other presidents, I was in the opposition. But I have never taken part and will never take part in name-calling a president. So I would like to disassociate myself from the term earlier called to the president of mass murderer. I think it violates Section 93 and 94 of the rules of the Senate. Just for the record, Mr. President. So may we now recognize Senator Gordon, Mr. President.
No, how shall we proceed, Majority Leader? The Speaker, Senator Trillanes, incorporated in his privilege speech a motion. So,
may we hear the motion again, Mr. President?
From the transcript, this is what the transcript provides. I now move that this privilege speech be referred to the Committee on Accountability of Public Officers and Investigations so that an inquiry be conducted to look into the alleged direct involvement of then Mayor and now President Rodrigo Duterte and other public officials in the killing of more than 1,000 persons in Davao City through the so-called Davao Death Squad.
Mr. President, I do not speak for the others. I speak for myself. If the motion is to refer the privilege speech of Senator Trillanes to the Blue Ribbon Committee, period, I will not object. But the allegations thereafter have no place in the motion. Therefore, if that is continued, I will object. If the motion is amended to just refer it to whatever committee you want, I have no objection, Mr. President.
Okay, so let's now go to the motion of Senator Trillanes, which I have just, which I have read from the transcript and I've restated. So the motion is now pending. Any objection? Senator Gordon is waving in favor of Senator Subiri. Is that correct? So Senator Subiri. Okay, who? Senator?
I'll give way to the chairman of the of both committees.
Senator
the chairman
Gordon
of
is
Blue Ribbon.
recognized.
Mr. President, I was originally just going to make a manifestation concerning the speech of the distinguished gentleman, Sonny Trillanes. But I'm constrained to act for a couple of reasons. There is already a pending hearing that has been going on. We just had a cathartic scenario where we had to replace, and very reluctantly, some of us, including myself, reluctantly replaced the chairman of the Committee on Justice. Now again, we are faced with another scenario here where obviously the remarks made by the distinguished senator seems to question the ability of every person within the Committee of Justice and Human Rights to be able to appreciate the evidence and the matters being presented before it. I think that is very unpowered, and I believe it's a slur on the committee because we have tried to be very, very fair. Second, I find it distasteful, and I don't mean any disrespect to the distinguished gentleman, that from what I heard from the speech, it would appear that he was talking for the witness. Precisely, Mr. Chairman, during the hearings, I asked, who presented this witness? I asked Senator Trillanes, I asked Senator De Lima, and nobody said no. She just appeared. And Senator De Lima later on went and said she met the witness during the Department of Justice. We let that go, Mr. President, because it's not fair to the committee suddenly for a witness to sprung out of nowhere, because we don't want to be led to a wild goose chase. But having said that, we took the extra precaution, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, that we provide counsel for the witness. Because, Your Honor, the first time he was presented, it appeared that he did not have counsel. And as you all know, any statements made in a committee could be used against him in a court of law. And that is why we postponed and we suspended the sessions until we could get a counsel, and we took great pains to make sure that counsel be presented. Now, Mr. President, it is the right of every senator here, and that is why we have a Senate. It's a place where we can all agree or disagree with the right temperament, Mr. President. We cannot poison the air of the Senate by coming out with reckless remarks or having somebody translate what the witness said, because the witness is the best witness. You cannot supplant the witness with your own observations. And if that has to be done, this representation as chairman would have said, go ahead. You may interpolate, you may ask the witness questions so that he could clarify if you thought that the witness was not being given the fair chance to explain himself. And that we did. If I'm not mistaken, I was even wondering why Mr. Trillanes did not even complete his 10 minutes of interrogation. If I remember correctly, he was done by 8 minutes. I would have extended, as I did with the others, as I did with Senator De Lima,
that you extend so that you can make amplification or the witness can amplify his statements, even if it would appear that he is being guided. Because what are we here for? We're not here to pillory anybody. We're here to seek the truth. And from that truth, legislation will be recommended, Mr. President. We're not here to say he's better or he's not. As it is, our country is beginning to be the laughing stock of the whole world. And forgive me for saying that. It would appear that this country has gotten down to the level of, in our investigations, whether in lower house or in the upper house, we have to produce the best criminals to testify. Who is the better criminal? Those before the lower house? A self-confessed criminal in the upper house? And with more reason, Mr. President, we have to make sure that we interpolate. That is why it is not kosher to tell our members of the committee that we were making judgment. Certainly not against Senator Pacquiao, who I thought gave a very cogent, logical questioning. If you cannot stand by what you say, how do you expect me to believe you? In Tagalog, maniniwala ka ba sa tao na sasalita na totoo? Sabi niya, opo. Kung ba hindi nagsasabi na ito, hindi ka maniniwala, kayo lang yung sinasabi mo nito, pabago-bago ka, hindi kita mapagkatiwalaan, paano kita pagkakatiwalaan kung pabago-bago ka? Words to that effect. Mr. President, Senator Lacson also made mention about the fact, not aiding or, I think, with the purest of heart said, the crime was not committed in McDonald's. Mr. President, Mr. Lacson also came out and said, General Matillano came in and spoke about the fact that there were no agents or entities under his jurisdiction or under his command that were sent to anybody, including Congressman Nograles, Mr. President. I can go to many, many details. You know, Mr. President, I take time. I listen. I try to be as fair as I can. And Mr. President, to me it is unfair if we start judging our people. That's why I don't want to embarrass anybody. I suspend the motion and calmly tell our people, whether it's Senator Cayetano when he was going out of bounds, or Senator De Lima or Senator Trillanes, that I will call you down if you continue with this. I could have made many, many inferences because the witness tended to look at Senator Trillanes and Senator De Lima at the time. In fact, I just made mention of it casually. No, I'm not going to do judgment. I am not going to sweat the small stuff, Mr. President. I will sweat the truth. That is what we're here for. And if I violate that, nobody in this Senate will respect me if I'm seen as going on one side against the other. Because fairness is the only shield against being told that you are biased. That is why I plead to our colleagues here, if there is any question about the things that have been expressed here, you can do it in the hearing, Mr. President. That's where it is, not on the session hall. Are we going to second guess now every committee? Anytime Senator Ria Tavares talks about labor, I will go up and say, oh, I disagree with all the things that were said there. There's never going to be an ending. That is why there's a system of committees. And the committees are given the latitude. And it is up to us if we want to have more time to ask questions. There is no limitation. There is no franchise. You can ask for fairness and equity. Mr. Chairman, I would like to amplify. I would like to ask a question. I think because of the tenderness of the age of this person, or maybe because of lack of education, or his inability or facility to express himself, I would like to ask him a question. I would like to ask him in Tagalog. I would like to ask him in Visaya, which we did, Mr. President. That's why it took us long. When was the last time you heard a hearing start at 2:30 and ended up at 8:15 in the evening, Mr. President. And so, to me, I know that Senator Trillanes perhaps did not have that in his mind, that he would question the integrity of the proceedings. You know that I did not ask for this committee. I did not ask for the Blue Ribbon Committee. When everybody was angling for it, Senator Zubiri and all of you will know that I never asked for any committee. I've never done that. And whatever committees I've had in the past here was given to me because I value the respect of my peers. If they think I am qualified to handle a hearing, if they think I'm qualified with my integrity and my perspicacity to work, then I leave it up to them. I cannot demand. Certainly, I will not go in there and say, I will want that committee just because I want power. That's the easy thing to do. I gave up my commission on appointments for others here. I gave up certain emoluments in the Senate for our friends here. I'm very liberal when it comes to that. I have the highest respect for everybody. But respect has its bounds, and that's why I caution everybody here. Now, going to this other matter, Mr. President. When any member in this august body starts using harsh words, Mr. President, I'm astounded. We're not here to see who can beat each other in a fisticuffs. I'm sure nobody's going to try and do that with Manny Pacquiao. You know, intimidate him and try to fight with him. I think that's going beyond. This is a test of mind, of will, of sincerity. And so there's no place in the Senate for that kind of language. Certainly, I was almost going to jump up in my chair and say, Mr. President, may I ask for a minute suspension? But suddenly, sabihin pa, umatras ka eh. Gusto mo sundan kita. That is not right, Mr. President. Forgive me. That is not right. And we should not allow that here. Neither should we prolong this situation if we allow Senator Cayetano to prove his manhood simply by the strength of his muscles. Because muscles he doesn't have. Maybe he has mental muscle. I don't know whether he has got physical muscle. And certainly I could have, if I were chairing, I would have told Senator Trillanes, don't try, Mr. Cayetano, to embrace Senator Trillanes to break the ice. I would have said, I don't think you are his type. So, Mr. President, as I speak here today, I object to the fact that this is going to be referred to the Committee on Public Accountability. Mr. President, if there is somebody here, and I also would like to join in the process, put my name under the leadership of Senator Soto, who, in spite of his claims that he has never been a majority floor leader so many times, you know, that's a sign of, as we call in Tagalog, humility. And so having said that, Mr. President, I do not subscribe to the fact that anybody can say here, or even the Senate President can say here, we will refer to the committee. At least we should refer to the Committee on Rules. And a caveat, Mr. President, when we refer this to the Blue Ribbon Committee, we must remember that harsh words such as mass murder is uncalled for. That is reserved for Hitler. That is reserved for Stalin. That is reserved for the person in Cambodia. I forget his name right now. Pol Pot.
Pol Pot.
These are our countrymen. Unless we're ready to come out and show the proof of that. And that's the beauty of democracy, Mr. President. The Constitution allows us to hold the highest official of the land in a process called impeachment. We've seen that happen. President Estrada went through impeachment. And if it is the desire of any one of us in this chamber so to do, let us follow the rules. If you give it, Mr. President, to the Committee on Accountability, I cannot accept it because it's going to be a waste of the taxpayers' money. As it is, who are we going to call? And once we call, we still have to pass it on to the impeachment committee in Congress. I think that's a waste of time of taxpayers' money. Let's cut to the chase. If anybody in this chamber or anybody out there from the boonies of the Cordilleras to the urban cities in our country feels that they have evidence so to do, go ahead. Sure. The Filipino, you know, I call it the colonial hangover, will say, malaking kalaban, wala kang laban. Many of us have passed through that crucible, Mr. President. I think the rules will tell us that I cannot accept that and will not accept it, and I'm not allowed to accept it under the rules, because that heads to a process called impeachment. And so, Mr. President, with all due respect to Senator Trillanes, I do not seek to lecture. Sometimes, in my old age, I tend to muse. I'd like to think what a young senator in the refectory said to me just a few minutes ago. Is this the Congress or the Senate that I ambition for? And he's asking me to quote him. Senator William Gatchalian, I'm sorry, Senator Villanueva was the one who said that. So even all of us, like the many of our people, cannot even. As we see, that's what I mean. You have to listen, and I'm glad you listen. Good for you. And that's why we all have to listen, Mr. President. And if he wants to talk, he can speak up there, and he can make the right correction. So, Mr. President, all in levity and all in friendship and candor, I must reject and maybe ask the Senate President to direct it to the Committee on Rules for proper disposition. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Subiri. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, mine is really on a personal note, and it was directed to the Committee on Accountability of Public Officers Investigations. As far as we know, that's for all members of government, both from the three branches, judiciary, executive, and legislative. However, in Article 11 of the Constitution, Accountability of Public Officers, Section 2, the President is placed on has a different mechanism, Mr. President. The President, Vice President, members of the Supreme Court, members of the Constitutional Commissions, and Ombudsman may be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of culpable violation of the Constitution, treason, bribery, graft and corruption, and other high crimes, or betrayal of public trust. All other public officers and employees may be removed from office as provided by law, but not by impeachment. So, iba po ang trato natin sa Pangulo. If the investigation is to investigate the President, the proper venue really is to go to the House of Representatives for whatever purpose. If they have evidence that is presented here today, they can put the evidence together, ask somebody to sponsor the said case, because it will be difficult also, Mr. President, that in a verified complaint of an impeachment that is filed by 1/3 of the members of the House, the same shall constitute articles of impeachment. The trial by the Senate shall forthwith proceed. So magiging judges po tayo, like what happened to CJ Corona, that everyone here, I was not here, everyone here were members of the court, the impeachment court. The Senate shall have sole power to try and decide all cases of impeachment. When sitting for that purpose, the senator shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the Philippines is on trial, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court shall preside, but not to vote. No person shall be convicted without concurrence of 2/3 of all the members of the Senate. So may implication po ito, Mr. President. And that's all, because I don't want to have to make a judgment if there will be an impeachment case that will be filed later on, if that is the plan of certain political groups and personalities. Then we will prejudge the case, the possible impeachment case, Mr. President, if there will be an impeachment case. But my point being is, ang dami-dami natin problema, dami-dami natin kailangan gawin, yung budget hindi pa natatapos, we have to confirm many of the members of the cabinet so that they can continue doing their jobs and we do our jobs as well. We've only passed one law so far. It's only the postponement of the barangay elections. Maybe we can, it's not even a law, we haven't made it a law yet. Maybe we can bog down to other matters of business for the Senate, Mr. President. That's my only appeal. It's just my own humble opinion. Thank you, Mr. President.
With the permission of Senator Subiri, shall I consider your manifestation an objection also?
Yes.
Because you're processing the motion. Is that an objection?
Yes, Mr. President. Okay. Yes.
Senator Trillanes?
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me just give a manifestation as well as regards the comment or the observation of the Majority Leader, Senator Soto, and the Senator Gordon as well. If they have been offended by the use of certain words in my privilege speech, then let me apologize to them, and let me assure them that it was never the intention to name call anybody. If I could have gotten the right words to describe the circumstances, then I would have called him by another name. But nonetheless, it was never the intention, as mentioned. And also, as to the chairman of the Committee on Justice, let me assure Senator Gordon that I have the highest respects for his capability to handle the committee and as a senator of the land. And he should likewise be commended for how the last hearing was handled. And precisely because of that, the Committee on Public Accountability, or the accountability of public officers, is also chaired by the gentleman. And I would know that it would be in good hands. Now, it was just so referred because it was deemed the appropriate committee to handle the subject matter. And as for the other contents, it was a privilege speech. If there are some implications or repercussions brought about by that privilege speech to the senses of the other senators, then I'm just sorry that it was so. But having said that, it is what it is, and motion was made, Mr. President.
There is a motion, and there have been not less than 2 objections. So pursuant to rule to section 111, voting shall be by viva voce. A vote of yes.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
with your permission, Mr. President, in view of the question of propriety on the motion presented, may I move instead that it be referred to the Committee on Rules for further study and report and review?
Can we ask
Further study and review, Mr. President. Instead of voting on the matter now.
Can we ask the proponent, because the chair will treat that as an amendment to the pending motion. So, can we ask Senator Trillanes if he accepts the amendment to his motion?
May I have a 1-minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session is suspended. Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, may I reiterate my motion to amend the motion of Senator Trillanes that it be first referred to the Committee on Rules for proper review and study, Mr. President.
Senator Trillanes.
I accept the amendment and submit to the wisdom of the body, Mr. President.
Senator Zubiri.
With that, Mr. President, I withdraw my objection.
So let us
the motion of the Senate Majority Floor Leader to proceed.
So let us now process the pending motion. There is a motion now as amended, which will now refer the privilege speech of Senator Trillanes to the Committee on Rules. Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is... objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Senator Gordon.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. You know, that's the nice thing about having a Senate President who is very clear-eyed. And I just wanted to manifest, Mr. President, that we have scheduled originally, in the interest of transparency again, the original hearing for the Committee on Justice was supposed to have been September the 28th. I am told by the Senate ComSec that they were not able to release the notices to the police department of Davao. So with the permission of everyone, maybe I can ask Senator De Lima, because he was the one who gave the list, to
forward it to the COMSEC so we could, so they could be given the proper notice and move the hearings for October 3 and 4, and if necessary, a 5th hearing. That is in case it is necessary so to do, Mr. President. At the same time, I would like to request for a caucus among the Committee on Justice right after this so that we can process how we are going to handle the human rights people as well as the police so that it will be orderly and can be clarified before the public very, very well. So, Mr. President, that is my manifestation.
Thank you, Senator Gordon. Majority Leader.
Thank you. Mr. President, we wish to thank Senator Trillanes for accepting our motion. By the way, it was also seconded by Senator De Lima, Mr. President, that motion of ours, and duly approved. I thank you. We have some manifestations, but knowing that the hour is late, I move to adjourn the session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, September 27, 2016.
Any objection? There being none, session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, September 27, 2016.